Wow, okay, so here we are. Hello, folks. This is Angela Arden, and welcome to another episode of Hollywood Stars, Articles, Stories, and More. I am in the article phase of this, and today I have chosen a vocal legend, a girl whose voice I grew up listening to, and from about the time, also just like Joni Mitchell, from around the time I was 14, my father built me a hi-fi, as they called it in the day, which was a record player with high-fidelity speakers on either side. And he allowed me to have that in my bedroom. So, of course, very seldom did I leave my bedroom, which had two big windows that looked out on Mount Soledad in San Diego and our beautiful, lush neighborhood. Today is, as of this narration, Saturday, February 13th, 2021. Now picture me, a 14-year-old girl. In 1973, I have my high-fidelity record player, and I am listening to Joni Mitchell records. And one of the ones that I hear is a song called California. There is, I'm going to sing, please be warned, be forewarned, because there's a lyric in Joni Mitchell's California song, and it goes, I caught a plane to Spain, went to a party down a red dirt road. There were lots of pretty people there, reading Rolling Stone, reading Vogue. So, of course, being a 14-year-old teenage girl, what did I do? I went out that day and got a Rolling Stone magazine and a Vogue for the first time in my life. And when I opened those periodicals up, those very first ones, I subscribed to them, and I started reading Rolling Stone and reading Vogue in that little idyllic bedroom way back in the early 70s. And that is a big part of what made me who I am. So the star that I have chosen today was on many of those Rolling Stone covers, as you will see in the collection of pictures that I intend to provide. And her name is the beautiful, with talent from heaven itself, Linda Ronstadt. Now, when I was 14, and for all of the decades that have followed, I saw Linda Ronstadt pretty much as I originally saw her through those 14-year-old eyes. So I saw her as glamorous, and clearly I saw, this talented singer. And I saw, that she was living the life, and she was a rock star. And then I think I was in my 20s when I bought her classic standards, her ballads, like Frank Sinatra used to sing. And it wasn't until recently that I learned that she did those because her mother had passed away, and she did this to remember her by, to honor her. And she also realized how much she loved that music and how much it reminded her of her mom. I've only ever heard Linda Ronstadt say good things about her mom, and I think it's so great that she had a relationship like that with her mother. She also, as we all know, did The Pirates of Penzance, and the world was stunned by her operatic style of singing. And then she did a portion of her life she dedicated to her Mexican heritage. And I am also part Mexican. I prefer to say part Spanish and Indian, because that is what the Mexican race is. I'm a lot of different nationalities. Some of them are Anglo-Saxon, and some of them are Latin. And but in fact, what they are is, so you know me a little better, my last name is British, and that's because I am English on my dad's side, German on my dad's side, Argentinian on my dad's side, Spanish on my mom's side, Indian on my mom's side, and French on my mom's side. And that happened because my grandmother on my mom's side was an orphan, and her last name is Mason, with an asterisk over the, not an asterisk, but an accent over the O in S-O-N, the ending of Mason. And my grandfather on my mother's side is the one who is Indian and Spanish, known as Mexican. So I am a lot of different things. And basically I feel that this recipe, or formula, like a French perfume that they only made one bottle of, is uniquely me. It makes uniquely my who I am. But bottom line, I am human. I am a person of this world, and I am a child of God, as we all are. And that's the bottom line about a person's heritage, really. It's that. And Linda knew it too, and that's another reason I love her. Okay, so let's start this interview, shall we? The interview that I chose is from the New York Times, and the title is Linda Ronstadt, Retired from Singing, is Still a Glorious Voice. Subtitle reads, the 73-year-old is the subject of a new documentary and a Kennedy Center honoree. She's also as self-effacing and gutsy as ever. This article is by Jim Farber. The date it was published is September 5th, 2019, updated September 11th, 2019. At the start of the new documentary, Linda Ronstadt, The Sound of My Voice, the 10-time Grammy winner, talks about why people sing. For the same reasons birds do, she says. For a mate, to claim their territory, or simply to give voice to being alive in the midst of a beautiful day. They sing so that coming generations won't forget what the current generation endured, or dreamed, or delighted in. The decision to document the specific struggles, hopes, and pleasures Ronstadt expressed throughout her more than 40-year career has special significance given her experience with Parkinson's disease, which robbed her of the ability to sing nearly a decade ago. In the time since, various documentarians have approached about preserving her legacy on film. She rebuffed them all before relenting to the Academy Award-winning directorial team of Rob Epstein and Jeffrey Friedman. They wrote a letter that was so literate, Ronstadt said during a phone interview from her home in the Bay Area. And And I had seen the documentary they made about Harvey Milk and thought it was very respectful, she added, referring to the, quote, the times of Harvey Milk, end quote, comma, end quote, from 1984, period, quote. So, I thought if somebody's going to do it, it might as well be them, period, end quote. The ambivalence embedded in the last remark has everything to do with how the 73-year-old Ronstadt views her life now. I see myself as retired, she said. It's weird having a current project, especially one that I didn't control. And control is important for Ronstadt. It's what allowed her to break as many rules of pop stardom as she did when she did. At the same time, she's self-deprecating about her achievements. In an hour-long conversation, she breezily dismissed her abilities at vocal phrasing, critiqued her multi-million-selling versions of the American standards, and made sure to mention the singers she believes sang the Mexican songs she loved as a child with far more skill than she did. Ronstadt even seemed nonplussed about the Kennedy Center honor she will receive in Washington in December. That's weird, too, she said, adding that she will show up to accept it, in part because she was told Trump wouldn't attend. I don't think anybody would show up if he was going, she said. The president has not yet announced whether he will go this year. The last sentence was in parentheses. Though Ronstadt admits that some days her health makes it hard for her to articulate clearly, the day we spoke, she sounded robust. These are edited excerpts from the conversation. Question. In the past, you have spoken about the great influence of your father's singing. The film lets us finally hear him. He performed locally, but did he ever record professionally? Linda Ronstadt. No. I tried to record him once, but he got red light fever. His voice sounds like a cross between Pedro Infante and Frank Sinatra. Most of the songs I learned in Spanish as a kid. I had never heard the records. I just heard my dad sing them. Question. Your Mexican background was an issue for you at school. In the film, you say that children would be scolded for speaking Spanish. Linda Ronstadt. My best friend, Patty's sister, had darker skin, and she was forbidden from going into the public swimming pool. We were outraged. Arizona was pretty racist. I think it's gotten worse. Question. From Arizona, you went to Los Angeles, where you had your first hit in 1967 with Different Drum. That's a stereotype-breaking song for a woman to sing. The character is a rambler who can't be tamed. Were you that person back then? Linda Ronstadt. That's me. I thought I was too young for marriage or anything resembling it. And I continued to feel that way until I had children of my own. Having children makes you grow up. But you adopted those children on your own, and you've chosen never to marry. Linda Ronstadt. Right. I didn't need somebody else's opinion about how to raise my children. It's hard enough being with my own opinion. Question. An interesting pattern developed early in your career. You met a lot of talented women like Emmylou Harris and Carla Bonoff, but instead of feeling competitive, you collaborated with them. Linda Ronstadt. I've never seen music as a competition. It's a conspiracy. The word conspiros, from the Greek, means to breathe together. Jose Abreu, who was so successful at teaching children how to play music in Venezuela, said, "Music is a conspiracy to commit beauty. If I sing with Emmy, I'm trying to ride right on her, to follow her shape exactly by singing harmony. We lean in and breathe the same air and tell our truth." The specific scene you rose from in LA was dominated by singer-songwriters, but you only sang. Did you feel self-conscious about that? Linda Ronstadt. The world was full of so many good writers, and I liked the idea that I could interpret somebody else's song. If a song told my story, I wanted to sing it. Question. Jackson Browne called you an auteur of those songs because you made them your own. Linda Ronstadt. It was probably my inept phrasing. It wasn't until 1980 that I had a clue about phrasing, and I'm still pretty clueless about it. Linda Ronstadt, of course, is referring to her feelings about not being a singer-songwriter. Bonnie Raitt can sing like nothing is going to bother her. I can't sound like that. Question. Many people in the film talk about how critical you are of your recorded performances. What's up with that? Linda Ronstadt. It's funny to hear recorded music because it's frozen in time, and I experience those songs as something fluid. I did all those early recordings live. There was no overdubbing, and we picked up the track that was best for the band, not for my voice necessarily. Then I'd get on stage, and that's when I'd get really comfortable with it. The ones I recorded all sound rigid to me. I'd think, I sang that better in Cleveland on February the 6th. Question. The rock and roll world that you came from fostered attitudes about sexual conduct that have come under new scrutiny in the wake of #MeToo, period. Did you experience sexual harassment back then? Linda Ronstadt, parentheses, box parenthesis, bursts out laughing, end box parentheses. I felt sexually harassed a lot of times. There was a guy on the Johnny Carson show that came into my hotel room and took off his clothes. I scooted away and sat in the lobby until he left. He said, "If you play nice with me, I'll make sure you get more TV shows from this." But I hated performing on television, so he had nothing to offer me. If I had been in a position where I was beholden to him, it would have been a different story. Question. At the height of your career in the 70s, you were seen as a sex symbol. Did you feel pressure to live up to that image? Linda Ronstadt. I couldn't, parentheses, laughs, ends parentheses, they are box parentheses. I'm a casual dresser. I say the least. It's hard for me to go beyond Levi's and a baggy sweater. I always look like I'm going to clean somebody's house. Question. But there was that famous 1976 Rolling Stone cover where you're in red lingerie with one strap undone. In Joe Hagan's book about the magazine's founder, Jan S. Weiner, he reports that Weiner told the photographer Annie Leibovitz to make you look like, quote, a Tijuana whore, period, end quote. Hello, readers. This is Angela Arden. I'm going to make my first aside here about this interviewer. I find him to be extremely inappropriate. This Jim Farber of the New York Times. His questions I find to be disrespectful of one of our greatest legends of not just rock and roll, but classic music, and she is also a lovely person. And I don't dig his approach at all. He comes off as going for the dirt, and he comes off actually, and there is no dirt in her life to be had. She has been very upfront and throughout her whole life, as he said, and he should have taken a page from his own introduction. She goes out of her way to be honest, and she has her entire life. I find his questions and his entire approach completely unprofessional of a journalist. Also, she is in her mid-70s, and she is fighting Parkinson's disease. Outrageous. But I did choose this interview, and I did start into them. I read them right off the bat, just as if you were reading it yourself, and I react to these articles spontaneously, just as you would. We experience these articles together, people. So I will start in again where I left off, and as you may recall, the last question was about Rolling Stone's founder, Jan S. Weiner, and what he told the photographer Annie Leibovitz to try and create this image that is horrendously offensive. Linda Ronstadt. She had an agenda. I was naive. I said, I don't wear red underwear. She said, I'll let you see the pictures before we put them out. Sure enough, she brought the pictures over to box parenthesis, Ronstadt's producer and manager, end box parenthesis, Peter Asher's house. And we said, no, you can't use that. She said, well, I just said I'd let you see them. I didn't say I'd let you choose them. That was really upsetting. Box parenthesis. In an email response, Leibovitz called Ronstadt, quote, anything but naive, comma, end quote, adding that Weiner gave her no direction for the shoot. Leibovitz wrote that Asher was the one who didn't want the pictures to run, but that privately Ronstadt, quote, told me to run them, end quote, period, end quote, box parenthesis, and that is from Annie Leibovitz. And I personally, well, there are two stories here. And there are two sources. One is Linda Ronstadt. The other is Annie Leibovitz. To me, in my life, Linda Ronstadt is a much more known quantity of a source. than Annie Leibovitz. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm just going to let this as it is, be as it is. I will just add one more thing. And that is that when I look at that cover of a Rolling Stone magazine, I see pretty, I see feminine, and, maybe just the slightest bit of being flirty. Truly, I don't see, the image that everyone is talking about. And perhaps that's just because we know that this is a talented person. She is America's sweetheart. And because of her wholesome, all-American good looks. And that is my personal observation. Next question. At your commercial peak, you were called, quote, the queen of rock and roll, period, end quote. But you weren't really a rock singer, right? Linda Ronstadt. Never. I've always thought of myself as a ballad singer. I couldn't do anything nuanced or delicate, box parenthesis, in rock and roll, end box parenthesis, period. Next question. You started to perform standards in 1983. Well before that became a bankable trend. How much resistance did you face at first? Linda Ronstadt. Oh my God! The president of my record company came over to my house and said, quote, you're going to destroy your career, period, end quote. I couldn't even hear him. I wanted to sing those songs so bad. I think I would have died if I didn't. But I didn't do them all that well. I never sang with an orchestra before. I could have done much better if I'd had it on the road first. Next question. It's even more amazing that you sold millions by recording traditional Mexican songs. Yet when critics talk about the pop artists who brought music from outside the U.S. or U.K. to the pop mainstream, they mention Paul Simon and Peter Gabriel, not you. Is that frustrating? Linda Ronstadt. Who cares? My music is not curing cancer. It will be gone soon enough. There are better interpreters I can recommend, like Lola Beltran, Lydia Mendoza, and Chavela Vargas. Next question. Before you released the Mexican songs, a lot of people didn't know your background. Were they not paying attention? Linda Ronstadt. I only said it in every interview. In 1968, I said I'm of Mexican-German heritage. But I had white skin and a German name, so I wasn't Mexican. It was part of the way Mexicans are treated in this culture. We're invisible. Next question. Obviously, singing was your passion since childhood. Where does that passion live now? Linda Ronstadt. I listen to music really passionately. I can really hear music in greater detail. I listen to opera on YouTube, where you get bad picture and sound, but I can see Anna Netrebko, spelled Netrebko, sing La Traviata, and then see Maria Callas sing it, and then someone else. Next question. There's a coupe in the film where we get to hear you sing a bit with members of your family. Linda Ronstadt. There's no way I could have them sing and not have me sing harmony. It was what my family did. It's always important to add to a song whatever you can. And that concludes this interview. I hope you enjoyed this read as well. Another article that I truly, although it started out with my having some things to say about it that you heard, but I would say that the second half really, that aside, it was certainly informative, and what I really enjoyed was Linda Ronstadt's answers. She took those disrespectful, hardball questions that were very, about the problems that the Me Too movement is now addressing, but I thought asked in a very brash manner, and maybe like 3 too many. But the way that she handled even those questions was with aplomb. She was cheerful and positive and tried to give as many details as she remembered, and she acknowledged so many people other than, in really not, this interview for her, as whenever I've heard her speak, is never really about herself. She'll answer the questions, but then she includes everyone. She gives everyone credit, and that is to her credit. So, dear listener, until next time, it sure is fun doing these, and I sure do hope that you are enjoying them. I really do. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I happen to be recording this on February 14th, 2021, which is Valentine's Day. So, you were my Valentine during this time, and I wish you a happy Valentine's Day. And now for the closing closer, and I mean it, which is, now you go out there and be the star of your own life. Until next time, this is Angela Arden. Bye.
Behold the way our fine feathered friend his virtue doth parade. Thou knowest not, my dim-witted friend, the picture thou hast made. Thy vacant brow and thy tousled hair conceal thy good intent. Thou noble, upright, truthful, sincere, and slightly dopey gent. You're my funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. You make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable. Still you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak? When you open it to speak, are you smart? change your hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Each day is Valentine's Day.
Funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, still my favorite work of art is your figure, less than Greek, is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak. Are you smart? Don't change a hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Oh, and make each day Valentine Day. Linda, I can't hold a candle to your voice, but it sure was fun trying. Happy Valentine's Day, especially to you. Our Linda